Now in Japanese there are 3 sets of characters. They're hiragana, katakana, and kanji, and you use them all, so you can't just learn one and then forget the rest. Why are there 3 different writing styles, you ask? Well, they are used for different things. Hiragana is the most basic writing style, and there's really no other way to describe it. Katakana is used for names, foreign names like mine. You will see at the end of the video, my name, that's in kana. Kanji, they just throw in there because they feel like it. Hiragana. There are 46 main characters that are pretty self-explanatory, and since it's purely phonetic, if you get a ka, it will always be a ka. It will always sound like ka, because ka is ka. Now, of course, there are also ten-tens and marus, so if you put a ten-ten on a ka, it becomes ga, and if you put a maru on a ha, it becomes pa. But that's still pretty easy. There are a couple other things like nya. Then, of course, there are things that just sort of throw a wrench into a works, like a chisai tsu. It's the only time that you have a character that doesn't really make its own sound. It just is a pause. Even so, these are less than 100 sounds that you need to memorize, and whenever you see it, it will always be that way. It's always the same. Katakana. Everything I said about hiragana is true for katakana as well. Whatever sound it is, it's always going to be that sound. A he is always going to be a he, and he will always be a he. When you see a he, you read a he, and that's it. Where hiragana and katakana only have, about 100 each, kanji, there are thousands of them. Now let's take a really simple word like ikimasu. It's ikimasu, which means to go. But if you take the e in ikimasu, you can turn it into a kanji because that's how it's written. So instead of 2 strokes for the e, it is now 6. Now let's get into kanji combinations, because you can have one kanji, but it can have many different readings. So let's take umi, for example. Umi in hiragana is 2 characters and 4 strokes. In kanji, it is 1 character and 9 strokes. That's a lot of stuff in a very small space. Also, if you combine it with another kanji, it changes the reading. If you combine the kanji umi and the kanji soto, you get kaigai, which means overseas. How in the world you get kaigai from umi soto? I have no idea. You can also combine umi with kami, which means head hair. Then you get ogonori, which is some kind of seaweed. Get your head hair of the ocean seaweed right here, because that sounds appetizing. Kanji can also change depending on what hiragana it's combined with. This kanji means descend or fall. But if you combine it with this hiragana, then it reads furu and means to precipitate or rain. But if you put it with this hiragana, then it's oriru, which means to get off. A train. Don't turn that into something it's not. And then of course there is stroke order. So if you write something one way, then it's correct, but if you write it any other way, it could look identical to what you just wrote before, it's not correct. You could go with a downward stroke, it's wrong. You go with an upward stroke, it's wrong. It has to be the exact way and in the exact order and the same directions and everything, and it has to be perfect. From all of this and many, many other reasons, I conclude that kanji is evil. It's evil. It's pretty, and that's it. Yeah, kanji, why you torture me?